In a world ravaged by movie studios that keep rehashing the same things, only one podcaster has the guts to make it even worse. Join Mike the Hobbit as he traverses the internet to bring you some of the best and worst ideas for reboots, remakes, and reimaginings of some of your favorite and least favorite TV and film properties. Ideas like a John Waters He-Man movie, Fantastic Four the musical, and Aliens, done entirely with marionettes. What podcast would bring this evil upon the world? This is Smack My Pitch Up. Available anywhere you get your podcasts.
The views and opinions expressed on Geekfather are those of the panelists and not those of the Geeks Under the Influence Network, their affiliates, or sponsors. Listener discretion is advised. This is for the parents and not for the kiddies.
Geekfire!
Can you try one more time? Say Geekfather real loud.
Geekfire way out! I just did it.
Alright guys, welcome back. It's a brand new year. That's right, this is the inaugural, see what I did there? Inaugural episode of 2021 for, that's right, I'm Scotty Big Daddy Preston, the Geekfather, coming at you, all the trials and tribulations of being a geeky parent, starting the new year here. And, well, I'll just go ahead and say it. Unfortunately, it's already starting rough, at least on the Geekfather side. Due to technical issues, my regular co-host, Kyle Smash, has not been able to join me for this.
Wait. No, me here. Me, Kyle. Me, Kyle Smash. I talk about parenting. Me, Kyle Smash.
And doing that lovely impression of...
Me, Kyle Smash.
I'm sorry, your head isn't shiny enough.
Yeah.
I have F.U. Hunter.
What's up, bitches, parents, bitches of parents? I don't know.
Parents love to be called bitches.
Yeah, there you go. So,
you know, it's a lovely thing.
I'm back, motherfuckers.
That's right. Yeah, there have been issues going on in the beginning of the year, but I just wanted to make sure we had a nice meaty episode to start the year, so I asked F.U. Hunter, one of my regular guests, if you will,
when you think of meaty... Think of F.U. Hunter. There you go.
That's right, meaty and not in a sexual way, but you know, hey.
Or ladies. Anyhow.
But I wanted to give you something a little bit more on because if you are one of our regular listeners, we were even having some trouble back around Christmas time. We had a great Christmas episode to release, and it's not even out there. One day, maybe if I get a chance to, I'll be able to find a way to release it. Nothing wrong other than technology just wasn't working for the audio on it. So
now I just did like a 20-second impression of Caveman Smash.
Yes.
But if he keeps not being able to come on here, and I come on here, there might be an episode where I just have to stay in character the entire episode. So, which is more of a lesson for Smash than anybody else. So
then you find that balding cap, get that turtle wax.
Yeah.
Going on, and you better have a nice shine to it.
But it's Caveman Smash, so it can be,
fair.
Yeah.
Fair. Anyways. We're already off the rails here, but guys, thank you for holding tight with us. We know, even though I started Geekfather in the middle of it, the past few years have been crazy, but we're starting strong. I have great inspiration for the way this past week has gone.
Inspirato, man.
It's been amazing and a great learning point for the kids, because part of what F.U. Hunter and I were talking about, just getting ready for the episode, was, thank goodness, even your 17-year-old son, 16, 17, I always forget.
He's 17.
He is 17, okay. Yep. I actually had it right, wow. Even he is still too young to realize the shit show that we've had to deal with for the past 4 years.
Yep. That's the one thing, I mean, with the exception, again, of my 17-year-old, my other kid, my daughter Mason's 5. You're 2.
Logan is 6.
Yeah, but they're not at that point of really absorbing, let's say, what's going on. So it's good that the temper tantrum, circus peanut is not there.
Good way to put it.
Yeah,
I just call him an orange sack of shit.
Yeah, but I'd say circus peanut because I mean, has ever said
it's entertaining for the kids.
Exactly.
Okay, yeah, fair enough. And fortunately, they haven't. We've also been able to filter what they've absorbed.
Right.
Here, guys. And as you know, as part of Geekfather, we try to have fun. We try to do great things. But we had a couple more serious episodes this last year because, again, Corona, which we're still dealing with. But we're trying to. I'd like to do at least a few episodes where we don't have to talk about it. But unfortunately, it is day to day still.
and something that we brought up before recording is it's
Right.
kind of difficult because a lot of the stuff that we would have as distractions to talk about is
don't.
so affected by,
Yeah.
Corona that we can't. Like, you can't go certain places. You can't there's virtual school, stuff like that.
Yeah.
So it kind of cuts into some of the stuff that normally I think Geekfather would talk about because
Absolutely.
you kind of, your arms are tied, man.
This show has definitely gotten way more serious and talked about things where, we've basically turned whole episodes into the subject where hopefully it would have been just a passing thought.
Right.
So the way I've taken it, though, is that even though it's been a shit show, this past year has also been a great learning opportunity for younger minds who do absorb information when you don't even think about it.
Right.
It started out crappy, but honestly, you got to take what you can with it and take it as a positive for teaching about race.
I'll throw this out there, and I know you brought this up on other ones. I will say a positive of Corona is a lot of employers are like work from home. All right.
Yeah.
I'm on the less positive side of it, as in I'm on furlough. But this past year is the most time I have spent with my kids because
exactly.
Usually I'm at work, 45 plus hours a week, or on the phone when I'm not at work dealing with work stuff.
Exactly.
And so I can say kind of one of the positive things I'd throw out there is that honestly I've spent more time with my kids than I've been able to in years past.
Now to be fair on that does give us more days on where we just do want to jump out the window to get away from them.
Right.
But there are a lot more greater days, better days are to be had in
I'm
general.
Sometimes more of the bad guy now because, Charlotte works.
Yeah.
So she's out. It's just me and Mason. And so when I'm like, all right, this needs to be done, I get the, I want mama. I don't want, you're the being dad. I want mama, and it's just like, well, you're shit out of luck, kid.
I now get 2 catchphrases from both of my children when basically something like that happens. Logan, hey Logan, you need to sit there and pay attention to your teacher. You're in school technically. Right. Remember that. Isn't it time for you to go to work, even though work is 5 feet to my office?
Oh no, I've been told. Go. Yeah.
Yes,
just go to the other room.
Oh, Leland, go to office. He says go to office when when I'm trying to basically discipline him. And
now, do you let him use the headphones, or do you keep the speaker on?
He does not. And to be fair, that's gonna be my catchphrase probably this episode. Who knows? Because that's what we've had to look at for the kids, is trying to be flexible as hell and trying to be fair for their situation more than our situation. He doesn't like it, and then honestly, his gym teacher and some of the stuff that they do, they're actually up and moving. They're not just sitting there.
That's what I'm saying is, I don't do the headphones specifically because Mason, even though this is her first year, it's kindergarten, stuff like that. Oh, when I can't hear the teacher, and she started figuring that out, where she'd plug in her headphones and I don't hear the teacher for a while because I'll have the volume up on her tablet.
Well, because even with the headphones, you can still hear.
Well, no,
something.
I literally have the volume up, so if I'm anywhere in the house, I can still hear there's stuff going on because the teacher will then call on Mason if she's not doing, and I've learned she'll take and plug in those headphones so she can get away with other stuff.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I will say.
So I had to be like, no. I need to be able to monitor it, even if I'm not sitting right next to you. We
have busted Logan actually having his volume turned down all the way because there are times where you don't hear anything. They may be working on a project or something. Or, one of the worst things we've had to deal with is that they'll get kicked out of the meeting and have to reconnect. So sometimes there is quiet. Walked by him, see his teacher talking but don't hear anything, and of course he's not wearing the headphones. Dude, why don't you hear anything? Because he's messing around. I'm like, sit in your seat, and then I'm like, wait a minute, why don't we hear her talking? And he just, while looking at me, reaches over and turns up the volume on the laptop.
Oh. I literally had today where I heard the teacher start going, Mason, your camera's not, your video's, I can't see your camera at all. And I go in there and she has her other smaller tablet under the table and she just turned the camera off. Oh. So she's playing with her other tablet instead of the school tablet. Yeah, she was
fucking
big
technology,
time,
man.
big time
these
busted.
Kids.
I know. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Fair enough.
So there's a lot more involvement than the report from school you get where they go,
or the occasional
Mason
phone call,
wasn't paying
email,
attention, or
right,
this or that.
right.
Now, like, it's you have to be more hands-on with
Yep.
that, so.
Well, and that basically sums up a lot of the way school has been the past year. I mean, we are approaching quarantine at about the 1 year mark. We're almost there.
Yeah, I think it's like March.
Mid-March.
When did Tom Hanks say he had coronavirus? Because that's the day.
That's what a lot of people...
That's the day that coronavirus was acknowledged.
It starts going downhill because I remember also we did GalaxyCon the last weekend of February.
Which is crazy to think about.
Right,
yeah.
That's almost a year ago. It just...
Like, the thought of being there, nobody was wearing masks, everybody was crowded around, and now you're like,
well,
holy shit, like,
right.
Back away, people, back away.
It was a total back thought of like, okay, you kind of heard something about this coronavirus.
Right.
But it was also the end of flu season, so you're still being careful, as careful as you can in a crowd without knowing about the mask and certain washing your hands.
Right, but
the
dude,
normal.
We went to a large convention with a bunch of people, and nobody was wearing masks. Okay?
Right.
It hadn't hit yet. That's simple. It hadn't
Very
hit
true.
yet. Okay?
True. Yeah.
It's weird though, and I'm just gonna a little side rant for a second. It's become such a normalized thing going out places. Everybody's wearing masks, interactions. You watch TV, reporters are wearing masks or something like
Right.
that. That now sometimes when I'm watching movies and someone's talking close to somebody else, I forget. Oh yeah. I'm like, what are you doing?
Right.
Back up, put a mask on. Because I've gotten so used to it in my normal life now.
Even the newer TV shows have incorporated, like the newer episodes of a show that's on currently,
Right.
They've incorporated the mask, setting up barriers like in courtrooms and all sorts of stuff.
I could watch a movie from like 10 years ago, and my brain kicks in going, those assholes better put a mask on. Like, and I'm like, oh wait, no, this is before.
This is next level before, back in the day where everybody smoked in movies and stuff,
Exactly.
and then all of a sudden that just stopped.
Yeah.
And you hardly see anybody smoking a cigarette or doing anything in a movie or TV show anymore.
Yeah.
So it's crazy. But I've even, like, in the middle of the day been like, oh shit, I have to get my shit ready we have GalaxyCon. No, we don't.
I know.
Shit.
I know. There's a few things, but, fingers crossed, and kind of how we started the episode is,
right.
I think, the 20th was a bright spot for hopefully things starting to get better. Things starting to get where hopefully we will have our GalaxyCons back. We'll have all the stuff that we used to enjoy. It's just
fingers crossed.
Patience
fingers
and
crossed.
I'm gonna say it, leadership. Leadership and patience are the two things. I have, frankly, I'll say I have a job that literally depends on social gathering.
Right.
All right? So, I really need mask mandates, vaccines, all the stuff that will kind of calm this down. I need that to happen because it'd be nice to get my job.
And the key thing is that it is leadership, but it's also holding the leadership accountable just to zip that off. And, I know we're this episode, we've still got time where there's going to be plenty of comments made, especially about Circus Peanuts. That's Circus Peanut. But we're starting 2021 strong. By the time you hear this, I posted an announcement where Geekfather will now be released on Friday. For a lot of people, that's not a big deal, but just for within GUI, we try to keep tabs of each other's schedules. We help promote the other shows and, make sure all the pre-cap stuff is ready to go, especially. So I just wanted to make sure everybody knew that. I'm going to be releasing on Fridays now, every other Friday. And from what you can tell, what we've already talked about, we're right in the middle. We just had the inauguration, and we're getting into the first full 48 hours of a new president at this point. So it's exciting times are happening for 2021. They're looking brighter. It's still a matter of staying diligent. Yeah. Really.
I mean, it'd be great if literally the minute the clock struck midnight and it was 2021, all of 2020's bullshit went away. But we still gotta deal with it. We gotta still deal with all that. It's still there. The hope is that honestly, some of the negativity, we're weeks after, but the events that happened at the Capitol, and you have to bring it up.
Right.
This country, I've seen a lot of division and stuff like that.
Sure.
I've just never seen one side invade a, government building.
Their own government building, much less.
Like a branch of government was shut down. I've just never seen that.
And you literally hear about that in other countries where the people attack the government, which usually means they're trying to do a coup and take over the government or set somebody new in place.
Look, I love history.
Absolutely.
I was working towards a history major before I left school and stuff like that. But I'm fascinated by history and a lot of stuff going on. We're going to talk about that for years to come. But you know what? I like everything to kind of calm down a little bit and kind of get boring again.
Now we're in breather mode, which is another reason why I kind of waited for trying to find that right time to record the first episode this year. Because so much happened. There was the tech issues at Christmas time. We took the GUI holiday break, if you will.
Yep.
And then trying to, even in the midst of all this chaos, we're still trying to bring this content, do what we love doing, hanging, seeing our friends and such still in these crazy times. But I'm still going to bring it back to fortunately, the kids weren't old enough to absorb so much of the negative stuff.
Yeah.
But we've been able to help reinforce positive thought and positive ways of living based on this negative.
Yeah.
Because, and I'll say it just straight up, because history books are bullshit in school about 90% of the time.
Yeah.
Most of what you read. This is going to be prime for like when Mason, Logan, Leland are all like hitting that middle school, high school era history books. And we can literally sit there and go through them because by then they'll be updated enough to be like, oh no, I lived through that. I'm actually part of history, seeing what happened when it happened, and be able to check that book to see what's bullshit.
Well, and I think especially, which obviously when they're old enough, you're going to talk to your boys, and I'm going to talk to Mason. I've already talked to Parker about just the reality of racism,
right?
and situations like that. And one of the motivating factors through the last 4 years has been, racism. Yeah. And, that was part of the, group on January, on the 6th was, was that type of setup. And that was the thing that I think affected a lot of people, is not only seeing that happen, but the fact that through the summertime, either we saw or we knew people that were, had been at the Black Lives Matter protest. And, there was one incident where they had a curfew. They told everybody to leave, and literally 20 minutes prior to that, they started tear gassing.
They got tear gas before the curfew even hit.
Jumped all over that.
I remember that.
And then you see footage of when there was protest at the Capitol, Black Lives Matter. There was nobody could take one step on there. Yeah. So to see that, and then literally see footage of people in senators and representatives' offices and stuff being torn out,
putting their feet up on their desks, stealing shit.
It's hard to not say, how was one situation handled so severely and this situation was handled so kitty gloves, to the point, people died, right? Yeah. But potentially there could have been more deaths and
way more.
And government representatives being murdered. And that's just crazy.
And again, that's where I'm going to make reference, because I was telling you about it, which I'm surprised you had trouble remembering this character, but I almost fear for the Alex P. Keaton syndrome on something that I talked about on an older episode back when I was doing my solo ones, all my solo episodes. And if you don't know, Alex P. Keaton was a character on a show called Family Ties back in the way early 80s. It was Michael J. Fox's, I think, first big acting gig.
Yeah, that was his first thing. And then
but the whole scenario, because it was a family comedy for the most part. Right. Tom Hanks played the alcoholic uncle. I remember that, just to show how crazy this show got sometimes. But the whole point of Alex P. Keaton was that his rebellion was to go right-wing Republican because his parents were very left hippies.
Right.
That is honestly one of my biggest fears, where you sit there, and especially this past year, where you take and you turn everything into a learning opportunity. You try to explain the difference between this is what he said, this is what he meant, and this is what people did as actions.
Yeah.
For what they did. Trying to explain that as best as possible to a 6-year-old, is not easy, you make it as simple as possible, and you know you're going to have that conversation again. But then your biggest fear is that something catches their attention that will hold into their head, and they turn into that Alex P. Keaton as they get older.
Yeah.
And let me just say, for the fact to be PC,
you're always going to have kids rebel, though. They're always going to have
right. But these days, and just to show like how weird it is to be 40 years later in comparison to the 80s to be Republican, and look at how so many people that claim to be a Republican American now, and the way they act and talk to other people.
Oh yeah. That's the
drastic
thing.
change.
It's become
drastic.
It's become more accepted to treat people so rudely, and it's just, this is where it's just refreshing at this point, because it just, things need to calm down.
Right.
You know? That's the main thing, is that things have to calm down. And we were saying earlier, it's just going to be a lot easier, you know, having, the leader of the free world, you know, whatever, the commander-in-chief, not having temper tantrums.
Absolutely.
That you then have to punish your children for having temper tantrums, and then the guy that's in charge of just about everything is having a temper tantrum. it's kind of hypocritical.
It's
going to be nicer.
Absolutely.
I mean, you know, maybe Biden might stub his toe while the camera's on. Besides that, you're never going to have the freakouts that we've become accustomed to the last 4 years. Like, we've become accustomed to it. We're just like...
Well, as soon as you hear Trump and tweet, it's already out of my mind and I'm ignoring it. Because it's going to be some rambling of something stupid.
I mean, before the fucking invasion of the Capitol, literally 3 to 4 days earlier, you have the President of the United States trying to sway a government representative to add an extra 11,000 votes to swing an election.
Right.
You know how many people talk about that? Nobody. Because that's what was going on. There was so much crazy shit on top of crazy shit that we forgot about that because a branch of government was invaded. So I just want politics to come back to be kind of boring. As much as I love history, can we just get back to just every once in a while?
But again, to bring it on the brighter side is that we did have history made this week for our vice president.
Yeah.
Multi-race is just the term I'm thinking of. It's probably not, and I apologize if it's not the right term.
You do all the
multiple race, but it's a female president. We've had or vice president. Sorry, who knows? She could become president if something happens. Hopefully, hopefully not in a negative way.
I know,
but you know what I'm saying.
Mine's not a spring chicken, so that could be a
absolutely
possibility. So,
however, there's just been so much change in the right direction that, again, and I want to emphasize this because this is a great learning point for any child, is to take accountability for what you're doing, especially if you're going to be in the spotlight and to spearhead something. What was it? One of the someone in Congress, the first transgender woman public is in the Senate. She has a lot to hold up to because she's going to do great things, I can see, because I would think that being a transgender person, you're already fighting for rights of the general people, and a thing anyways.
I'll just say it, you're the new minority. Like you're in a class that is still such a minority that at
least publicly,
absolutely, yeah.
That's the thing but they have great advantage to, coming back to what my original thought was on this, they have great advantage to do many great things, to do things the right way, which we haven't necessarily seen the past 4 years, and to show that they can be held accountable to do the job that they were voted into by the people. Talk about one of the best lessons you could teach your children.
Yeah. And that's that's what you have to look forward to, is when you go over stuff, you're gonna have the negative points, but you're also gonna have the bright spots like this.
Running a country, there's gonna be negative shit. There's always gonna be an argument. No one is gonna be 100% agreed.
Yeah.
However, we've seen politics in other days where at least there was a meeting ground and it just didn't turn into a name-calling, I don't like you
the name
type
calling
argument.
I can even deal with. I mean, what we've gotten into is
I say that as a very simple example based on...
It's just, I'll give me name-calling any day of the week.
Call me an asshole for all you want, but as long as we reach a middle ground to do what's better for the people...
Exactly.
And that's where I think our current president has really taken it to... Now, granted, he has speechwriters, he has people that help him to to know what to say.
Right.
But the way he has really put a bipartisanship to his speeches, what he's talked about, is great.
Sending that message out.
And at the same time, this is where this is the number one thing of where we hold him accountable to be the right influence after the past 4 years of shit.
Of division, yeah.
Of division and everything. This is his prime example to be accountable, held accountable, and show it's not... Well, our generation is probably the last generation he needs to impress. He needs to impress the kids. Parker, teenagers, all in that age group. That's the age that he really needs to set upon to come together in the form of unity.
Yeah.
Is really the best way to put it. Go back, listen to Operation Ivy, bring out those old records, man. Let's, for real. Because, I mean, dude, so many old punk rock records talked of unity, and I see Michael Graves... Fucking, what's his face? The little short skater guy. Shit.
Even if I did know...
From U.S. Bombs.
Okay.
Singer. Apparently he was all super Trump and, like, talking shit, and it was just like...
Dude, guitarist from Iced Earth was literally...
At the fucking protest.
No. And I will say this, and this is my only thing I will put... is the people that went to the protest I have an issue with. But there is the protest, and then there's the motherfuckers that went to the Capitol. And
right.
That dude, the guitarist from Ice Earth, he wasn't at the protest. The motherfucker's photo was taken in the Capitol.
He was in there. But I find the whole, like, dude, you guys are punk rock. Like, if anything, you're anti-government. You should be, I would think you would classify yourself more as a libertarian or even a Green Party, something.
Yeah. Like, that's the thing is that the people that attended the protest, obviously I have an issue with,
Right.
But
and
then
you should,
there is the people that attended the protest, and then there are those that then made their way to the Capitol, and you expect the majority of that crowd that was there did do that, and that's true. But I almost want to be careful because as much as shit got fucked up, I don't ever want to have it where the ability to protest, the ability to express, even when it's dumb shit, should be ever censored. I'll throw that out there.
Absolutely.
Even shitty, bad thoughts, there should be the avenue of at least saying it. That's the difference, though, is you had that protest rally, and then you had action. And every motherfucker that turned around and headed toward the Capitol, they became a protester to a terrorist.
Exactly. And that's part of the mindset of what you and I grew up with when we were teenagers, when they really were trying to get, like... because protests and stuff have been done for decades.
Right.
That's not to just disavow anything in history of what I'm about to say, but there really was a gearing towards and I hand quote this, of the younger people getting involved in politics to state what you think, that you shouldn't have to hide what you think, whether you agree with the public, the majority, the minority, or anybody in between. You have this right to say and believe what you believe in, but again, it's a perfect example as well to teach the kids your actions have repercussions. Even though you think you were doing right, there are still repercussions, and a right way to do things and a wrong way to... There's a right way to protest and there is a wrong way to protest, because protesting turns into terrorism.
Yeah, exactly. And that's...
period.
And that's the thing that hopefully we go into.
Or riot in between that, but...
People are civil. People have civil disagreements. Can we just get back to that? You know what?
Right.
Just civil disagreements.
Exactly.
That's what I want. I don't want the attacking, like... I want things to be civil again. You don't have to agree with people. And that's what I want to make sure Mason, Parker already knows. Like, you don't have to agree about it, but keep it civil.
Right.
Just keep it to the point where you can disagree with somebody but don't make it an attack on somebody.
Exactly.
That's kind of, and that's what I'm hoping is that as our kids are growing up, what we've just experienced the last 4 years will become a thing of the past and won't be something that influences them.
Well, and that's exactly what we have to look forward to for 2021, just to really turn this episode around onto let's get on a brighter note here. I mean...
we're not doing Geekfather Crossfire anymore?
Oh, we can to wrap it up, maybe. We'll see. Crossfire!
Over on your left.
Don't get me started on shit like that, man. But there's going to be great, like you said, 2021 just didn't magically make everything disappear. There's still virtual learning. But things are on the upswing. And that's really what we have to look at now, is more and more teachers are getting access to vaccinations. You know,
have you brought up like on the last Geekfather, vaccinations. That's kind of a huge thing. This is the thing we've been waiting for. So that's kind of the big hope. Hey, we actually have a thing now.
But the problem
is,
but just to contradict myself, the government also lied about how much vaccinations we had when someone was still in charge.
Well, they expected amount of...
Which is, all I'm going to say is, things have slowed down from the expectations, but things are happening in a positive way.
But it's not that magical thing that when we were talking about it during the summer and fall, like, the vaccine should be coming out, like, it's actually out. I know at least 5 people, most of them in the medical field that have already had it. So it's not that imaginary thing in the sky that we were talking about in the fall time, like, the vaccine will be here. It's actually here. So it's a baby step. I don't even know if it's a baby. It's a half a baby step with the amount of people that need to be vaccinated before it takes a major effect. But it's there. And that's right there. That makes 2021 have to be more positive,
way better. And one of the brighter lights, because again, even I've still got to circle back to it, but this is a proud moment, so bear with me in the beginning here.
Careful saying proud, dude. I'm sorry.
I'm a proud man.
All right.
Yeah, I'm a man.
All right.
I'm not a boy.
Yeah. You gotta be careful say proud apparently now. So.
Yeah, whatever. It's anyway. With all this mess that has happened, it's because we had talked about how people were acting and even like the lines drawn within families.
Right.
Because that was always a concern, because even, I have that, parts of my family that are very conservative and such like that. But a great moment, if you will, a happy moment, is learning when my father, for the first time in his life this past election, did not vote Republican.
Yeah. That's a big thing.
And not only that, he is a smart enough man that because of the circus peanut in the 2016 election, whatever that was, he voted independent just so we didn't have to vote for him.
There you go. Yeah, and it's always interesting when that happens. The same thing happened with...
So again, I'm keeping it on the brighter note here. I mean, that's good things happening.
My dad was Republican, and the first time he ever voted not Republican was W. Because he's like, there's just no way I can do that. Even that's first term W.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay,
so,
fair.
And that's one of those things is he had, he grew up, he voted for Nixon, he voted for Reagan, he voted, he leaned on the Republican.
So my father basically voted for all the same people
exactly
your dad did.
Yeah.
But I bet you anything, knowing the way my dad is, he was so on autopilot that he didn't even think about it.
So, and what's funny about that is we talk about how our dads were lean opposite politically of what we do.
Sure.
And that's what we need to make sure. And I suggest this to most parents is, don't push your political viewpoints on your kids. Just show them right and wrong, and they kind of develop their own.
Absolutely.
And because again, I don't think at any time you and your dad got into a shitty disagree. It was never pushed on there, but you leaned the opposite on there, and it never changed anything. And that's we hope we don't have... I hope I don't have an Alex P. Keaton.
Exactly,
but
yeah.
if that were to happen, if I would have someone that leans very much to the right,
I'm
not going to disown them in that shit. Like, it's just going to be kind of like, oh, okay, if that's really how you feel.
Yeah.
But that's also how our dads felt about us in a way. Not angry, but just like, wow, okay, I thought you'd want to vote that way.
If you even, depending on how much you know about your own family's history as well, which I will gladly teach to my children, I'll say it, my grandfather was a fucking racist.
Yeah.
I didn't know it when I was younger because, again, you can say different times certain things were still not said. But my dad will tell me, and as more in my adult years, I will say, more and more has come out where there were definitely, like, in families' houses, there were definitely white hoods. And this is in the middle of Indianapolis, Indiana.
Yeah.
So it's not just some bumpkin little town. This is in a major city that this is happening in,
Damn, dude.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's just like, I'm proud of my family, but our history may not be the best.
Yeah.
It should still be, your history should still be taught to hopefully...
And even if you have those kind of, skeletons in the closet, or family skeletons in the closet, or whatever like that, that's your family, but you don't have to follow along those guidelines.
Exactly. And I can remember, like, growing up as a teenager, just certain arguments I would have with my dad, and then finding out the stuff later where you're just sitting there going, Oh, see, he still kind of was in that state of mind, but it was the way my brother and I, again, punk rock, all the stuff that you learn where it's not supposed to matter who you are, where you come from, what race you are, blah, 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 even how you dress.
Right.
You know, this is supposed to be about the unity and everything. And the way my brother and I ended up getting into stuff and just those, and I can almost, excuse me, see the timeline on those conversations of, and just the wheels that would turn with my dad going, oh, yeah, maybe my father didn't teach me the right shit.
Yeah.
And I didn't necessarily teach my kids the wrong shit, but I didn't help either. Fortunately, they found that out on their own. And we can have great political discussions now. You know, I mean, we could have always, but no one's going to get heated. No, I still have other family members where I refuse to bring up politics at all.
Yeah.
And fortunately, they're not in the same state. We just say hi. We say birthdays and holidays.
Yeah.
And I just leave it at that because as soon as a discussion happens, I will sever that tie.
Yeah.
And I'd just rather not cross that line if I can help it. So, and again, that's going to be another teaching point where it's just like, yes, family is family, but if your family is a raging racist assholes who are just going to do nothing but negative shit, you don't need them in your life.
Yeah.
I mean, and we have friends right now that have done that.
Yeah, it sucks, but that's what happens.
Right. But he what can I say other than it's shit that's got to be done these days?
Yeah.
That's the worst part about it. That's really the worst part about everything is that this is dividing families, which you never want to see.
And that's where, again, hopefully things get back to being a little more civil.
Right.
And it doesn't get to that point, you know.
Yeah.
Because...
And again, because we are approaching the end of the show here for this inaugural episode of 2021. Geekfather. Hey, you know there are great things that are going to be happening. There are great learning points. Our children, I think our kids are going to come out way stronger in this type of thing than we probably could have.
Oh, absolutely.
You know, I mean, social media is like that thing where it's just like, well, that's more of a negative probably than a positive. But with the way they've had opportunities that we wouldn't have, again, we've joked about that. If we were in high school still when this shit happened, we would be fucked. No laptop. We wouldn't have laptops for every student to take home.
Access to,
we didn't even have Wi-Fi back in high school.
And that's what I'm saying is access to like most movies. You know, access to not just the physical games you have, but a cloud system that says, here, you can buy this, and it's on your video game system.
And you don't have to leave your house to buy it, do anything with it. Give it just about 500 hours to download.
Yeah.
But...
yeah, if you told me, like, all right, so, yeah, you want, but, you know, Mario 3, you're going to be able just to hit a button and it will be on your Nintendo. Where's this weird, magical world we live in where that happens?
You're a wizard!
Yeah. Witch!
You know?
That's a witch! But, yeah, like...
burn her!
But it's, yeah, I mean, yeah, they got a little few more advantages that if this had happened, like, you know,
But I'm glad it did because... again, circling back to everything where I know, unfortunately for your aspect, you know, you're in your limbo right now, but it's given so many parents, especially parents I think who needed the single parents. You know, we had talked about some that were struggling, gave them an opportunity to hopefully be able to save some money, still get an education for their children, even though, you know, again, we're in agreement where we probably could have, if we skipped a year, everybody would be okay. You know, maybe let hile school keep going or something. That's another debate. You know,
middle school and high school, you just, they're so used to it. I think the elementaries where I just don't know, and when we get to the end of the school year this year, do you officially say, okay, you move to the next grade?
Right. That's going to be the hardest part.
Yeah, because
hardest part.
How do you determine which kids virtually have picked up on enough to move to the next grade and which ones haven't? And is it because of the virtual or what? You know?
I will say that this will fall more on some of the teachers. Only because I say that because Logan's teacher has been really good about doing personal meetings with each student and doing evaluations.
That is true.
Which is how she's... Now, that's way easier in elementary school than it is in the high school.
I just think before 10, it's still a hard thing to kind of determine.
Sure, but the standardized testing doesn't help either. That's 12, the whole thing.
Once you're in middle school, I feel like you're going to work on the stuff you're going to work on. You're going to not work on the stuff you're going to work on.
Right.
There's a difference between not understanding or dealing with this way of learning and not putting forth the effort. I'm sorry,
right.
And like...
No, absolutely.
And
absolutely.
as a parent, we all worry, like, I try to stay on top. Like I was saying, no headphones in, volume up. I try to stay on top of her class, her school every day.
Yeah.
Somebody
is with, look, even if it's just myself and I'm technically working at home.
Yeah.
I still have my office door open. I can still walk away from my desk. It's not like I'm chained to my computer having to do work constantly in that aspect. Someone is always monitoring Logan, double checking what he's doing, but in some ways it's helped him grow as well.
Yeah.
The way the virtual learning is done, because as much as we are social creatures, that's been a little bit less of a distraction for him to make it easier to learn certain things in the way he should do things.
Yeah.
So it's a hit or miss with every child.
I'll say this and then we'll finish up, but
yeah, sure.
It also, just with everything, every single person learns a different way. Not everybody is the same way. Some, it's more, hands-on, visual, whatever stuff. So you're going to, no matter how this works, some are going to be just fine, and some are going to possibly fall through the cracks this way of learning.
Yeah.
It's just the unfortunate thing. And my question is, what's the percentage? And that's where, how do you determine it? You might have some that very much take to the virtual learning, or that the teachers have figured out ways to work with them without physically being there.
Yep.
And then there's some that it's might be just near impossible without being physically there.
Yeah.
And it's just one of those kind of sad things that we're in this experimental year.
It really is. Yeah, that's a great way to put it. Yeah.
Specifically you, both of us, because even though Logan had kindergarten last year, that shit was cut short, right?
Right, exactly. Exactly.
So it's just one of those things where we're going to see how the rest of the school year goes, and fingers crossed, hopefully they determine something that helps us out.
Yeah, absolutely. And guys, we're going to go ahead and start the wrap up here. At that point, I know, again, I've always talked about I want this show to be fun, but, we're living in these times.
I thought this was fun.
Fun for me and you to bash a stupid president that we used to have, no longer anymore. Woo!
We're as exciting as the inauguration was, all right?
There you go.
All right?
There you go.
Was not, again, the inauguration wasn't balls crazy, but it made you happy.
But I'll take it.
It made you happy.
Take it.
It made you happy.
I was able. Everybody. What was it that one of those jokes going around where there was like a collective 8 billion sigh of relief around the world day of everything.
Or like Hobbit had sent us a thing where you take the cartridge out, you blow on it, and reset the game. Now that is an old school gamer thing. If you don't understand that, then I'm not going to talk to you. But guys, thank you very much. We're starting off 2021 really strong here. Positive vibes is really the best way I can put it. That's what we may have to talk about some negative things, but we're going to keep positivity going, teaching the kids what we've got to do, what we believe is right, and for them to find between the wrongs and the rights of the world how they see it fit. I mean, it can be completely different by the time they're our age. Yeah. So, but guys, just remember, just because it's 2021, there are still some things. Wash your hands, wear a mask, fuck white supremacists, stupid motherfuckers. Racism is bad. Racism should just be eliminated. So let's all work together to do that. Black lives matter. Black lives do matter. And keep it together, guys. We're a community. We're one tribe on here. I won't even go into the whole spiel about the other shows. Everybody's releasing. There's so many great ones between Beaver Disasters and For the Mouths of Madness. There's so many amazing shows. Those two shows. Those two are pretty amazing. But there's other great shows on the GUI network. So, but everybody on the GUI network is getting back into the swing of things. It's a brand new year, guys. I know for Geekfather, I still have some great special episodes coming up. I'll say this year, I know a couple of them I've been talking about, but I'm planning a series of at least 2 episodes, maybe 3, about kind of a serious matter, but I've been deep diving into more information on break on, we're going to be talking about cults, Scientology specifically, and how that affects there are major ways
ways that affects the children. Also, I've got at least one in the books right now of a great buddy of mine, Chris Elston. He does like some comic book work, directing and writing for independent movies. He's going to be coming on. He has, I believe his daughter's grown now, but he was definitely getting into the business being a father. And I think even part of that time was even during a separation as well. So he has some great stories to tell. I'm going to have him on an interview soon. Guys, so keep an eye out there. 2021, we're on the upswing. The light is here. We're going to keep things fun. Keep going. I know we got heavy political, but these are the times we're in, man.
Come on, man. Yeah. I mean,
it's the times we're in.
it's going to happen every once in a while.
Yeah. So, guys, appreciate it. One love. See you guys next time. Oh, and don't forget, join us or cry.
My name is Amy Bogard.
And I'm Mike the Hobbit.
And we are the hosts of Deeply Upsetting, where we use our expertise to answer your most upsetting hypothetical quandaries, such as, what non-winged animal deserves wings?
And what body part deserves a secret mouth?
Which cryptid is the worst roommate?
These questions and more that plague you will be answered on Deeply Upsetting, available anywhere you get your podcasts and at GUIPodcast.com.
GUIPodcast.com.